Lucy and I have
6 children.
And Isaiah,
He's 15.
he's our oldest.
He likes to help take care of others.
He's very faithful to the Lord.
And he definitely knows right from wrong, and he keeps all of us in line.
He just takes the Catholic faith very seriously. He prays for other people.
Then we have our daughter, Emiliana,
She's 12,
and she is the second mom in our family.
very hospitable, joyful, energetic, outgoing young woman.
She is absolutely wonderful. She helps around the house. She helps with all the kids. She's a fantastic cook and baker, and she cleans and she does everything. So she definitely has a little internship going on here for motherhood.
Next is our son, Luke.
Who would live outside if he could. He's 10.
So loving and gentle.
He's always playing imagination games and running around, and he's got costumes and capes and Nerf guns and you name it. And
He is someone that attracts people to be around.
And he's a very sensitive boy too, that he has a very empathetic heart for others and for anyone suffering.
Next is our daughter, Felicity.
And she is just about 8.
Her namesake, she's very joyful.
She always wants others to be smiling and laughing. She gives the best hugs in the world.
And just full of energy and life, and just a joy to be around.
And then we have Hannah, who is 2.
Very energetic, funny to be around.
And she's actually the boss of the family.
Lastly, our daughter, Lucy.
And she is just 4 months.
I think a peaceful child. A lot of people say she doesn't cry, and
she has brought a lot of joy to our family. And then we have 2 other babies that are living with the Lord, Teresa Pio and Francis Tobias. So God called them home, so those are the special intercessors we have just for our family. When we were dating, we did talk about having kids. I wanted to have kids. He wanted to have kids. We never really talked about how many. I was definitely open to a big family. He was one of 9, I'm one of 3. And so there's different family dynamics there. He initially told me he wanted 15, and I said, I don't know if I can do 15, but I'll do whatever the Lord sends our way.
Being the 7th out of 9 children, I love families. It was very natural to me, a natural desire of the heart that I think the Lord had given me.
So we talked about that, and I was always fascinated with bigger families. My mom's from a family of 8. I was definitely open to a bigger family and just whatever God sent our way.
So I still don't think a 6 children is that large, actually. And I'm always open to whatever the Lord is asking of us.
Each and every one of our children is a gift from God, and I'm so grateful that He has given each and every kid. And each time that we've gotten pregnant, we say, oh, one more, how are we gonna do this? How are we gonna make it? And we always do. God always provides.
Each child is a complete gift and blessing to our family and to the world. And to say no to a blessing to the world and to your own life is counter of what our life is all about here on earth.
And what's amazing is each child He's given us has filled a niche in our family and has filled a void that we didn't know was there. And so each of their personalities, their gifts, their talents has brought so many different beautiful blessings to our family. So we always know this kid's good for a laugh, or this kid's always good to give us a hug, or whatever it is. And absolutely, it would be so much easier if we didn't have 6 kids. We'd have more money, we'd have better cars, we'd have this and that and the other thing, but I don't want any of that.
Being open to life really has nothing to do with money, because ultimately the Lord is in charge of our life. He is sovereign. He reigns over us, and He provides for us. And so He gifts us with whomever He wants in our lives. And so I can't imagine life without any one of our children.
There's nothing can replace the support and the love that I feel when I walk into the house with the kids, even with them screaming and crying or bickering over this and that. That is absolutely irreplaceable, that bond. And it's given me a fulfillment in my vocation. It's taught me how to love. It's taught me how to give. It's taught me what that sacrificial love of Christ on the cross actually is, that I am going to give everything I absolutely have for this family, for these kids.
And so it's almost a completion of who we are as human beings. And to not be open to that would be less than joy in your life.
It's an honor that God has given us this many children to care for and to love and to raise, because each and every kid is so unique and is such a special blessing in our lives. And it's taught me how to work on myself and my personal relationship with the Lord through loving them, because they're my vocation. The very first night I met him, actually, we were at a friend's house and he came and sat down on the couch next to me and he started talking about football and he told me the football team he liked. And I looked at him and I said, this would never work. And I got up and walked away because the team I like is a rival team. And so we've worked our differences out. We still support different teams, but we've made it work. But I think one of the things that was important to me was making sure that whomever I married was going to be someone that would help me pursue a holy life, that would help me get to heaven.
One of the things that so Stacy and I did as we were dating, and we prayed together, and we decided that we were going to read the scriptures together as a dating couple.
That we had been praying one night while we were dating long distance. We decided that we wanted to read the same scriptures every night together, separately. So we were long distance, and we both opened our Bible one night and we got the same passage, and it's a passage in Sirach, and it talks about a friend.
We called each other that night, and both of us said that the Lord had given us a word in prayer, and that word was Sirach chapter 6, faithful friend. And it just talked about a friend, and when you have a friend, that you cling to that person. And so a few months later, when I proposed to Stacy, I turned off the TV and I lit a bunch of candles in the apartment.
Actually, I was watching the Olympics. And I was very much into the Olympics, and there was an American swimmer that was swimming, and he looked like he was going to win a race and set a new record and get the gold. And he asked if he could turn the TV off and talk to me, and I said no. I said, I want to watch the rest of this race. And so eventually he did. He turned the TV off and he read a Bible passage.
And read Sirach chapter 6, faithful friend.
And he read the passage to me and he said, can I honor you and serve you, and will you marry me? And truth be told, I actually never said yes. I was dumbfounded. I just hugged him and stared at him for a while. And then he said, well, will you marry me? And I shook my head yes. And so then we were engaged.
Our wedding day itself was just an incredible, peaceful time.
Well, the biggest thing I remember is that morning we went to go get our hair done, and it took so much longer than what we expected. So I was really late getting to the church, and Sean knew that I wasn't at the church yet, and he was asking some of my friends that were there already, the bridesmaids, is she here yet? Is she here yet? And they said, no. And he goes, is she not coming? So I find all this out afterward.
It was beautiful to have all of our family and our friends present the day that
we were able to witness in front of our friends and our family that we wanted a relationship that was solidified sacramentally, and to be able to start a life together.
It was an enjoyable day. It was lots of fun. The reception was just incredible. It was a great celebration of family and life and the sacredness to marriage.
Sean's been actually an amazing father and husband. I think he definitely has exemplified the loving characteristic of our Heavenly Father.
She's a very deep, loving person. I saw that she's a strong woman and very faithful to the Lord. She brings me joy just by her mere presence.
And he definitely grounds me many times when things get to be crazy or I'm overwhelmed with life and duties and those kinds of things, or in disciplining the kids and ensuring that we do that in love and not in a moment of, anger or being upset or something like that. And so he's exemplified that. He always brings us back to the Lord and makes sure that that's where the basis of our family is, that our family life is structured around the sacraments, and that we continuously go to the Lord for help and for our grounding and for our just to be the center of our life and the center of our family.
Stacy and I have gone through certain trials and tribulations and suffering in life, and we both do not understand why, and we could easily be bitter and angry and upset about those sufferings.
We always, first and foremost, have to go to the Lord, because He knows more than I do, and He knows that our desires, He knows our struggles, and He knows how things are going to turn out long before I do. And so to be able to go back to the Lord and to say, I need your help. I need you to help me see how to handle this. How do we get through this? And then just beg for that peace. And He's not always going to give us the answer or show us the end of the road, how this is going to turn out, but He will always give us the grace and the peace that we need to get through it.
The sufferings have only allowed us to be stronger persons, and grow in love for each other and grow in love for each other as a family, and then also to be able to grow in love for the Lord and to cling to the Lord in those times of sufferings and trials and tribulations.
And I think what's important to remember is God is very practical too. He doesn't give you the grace to handle a problem until you have that problem. So for example, I didn't have the grace to have these 6 kids when we were engaged or when we had 1 kid. And with each kid, you beg for the more grace, and there's plenty of grace to go around. So He'll always give you more to be able to handle what you need to handle.
I don't think we should hide our sufferings from our kids, but it's important for us to share together as a family. And it's important for us to know how to handle it.
And I think it's important to share that too, because if this family is our support, then they can help support us in whatever we're feeling. So they can help us feel not as sad, or help us to feel happy, or, whatever it is. And then you have that support around you, you have that camaraderie, and it's nice to know that you have all those caring people around you.
I firmly believe that a family that prays together stays together.
Absolutely. Prayer is so essential to our life. It's so essential to our breathing, our soul breathing, because prayer is our communication with the Lord. And the fact is, this life only lasts for so long, and then we have an eternity with Him. So if we're not talking to Him now, what's an eternity going to feel like when we're communicating with Him?
And why do we do that? To grow closer to the Lord, grow closer to each other. But also I want them to understand how to pray and to be a disciple of the Lord. To when they leave our house, they'll spend the majority of their life outside of this house, and I want them to have a deep relationship and love for Jesus.
Mary's fiat has been very influential in my life and in our marriage and in our children's lives. Her yes was a yes with no ifs, ands, or buts. And that is what I've tried to do as well. Yes, okay, Lord, you've given us another child. Yes, how am I going to love this one? Okay, Lord, you are giving us another struggle right now. Yes, how do I make it through this? And I think one of the most difficult things to say yes in is through your struggles, through sufferings, but to know that the Lord is there with us.
I do have a deep devotion to Our Lady. We consecrated our lives to the Blessed Mother. We live out our life in a spiritual knighthood.
When I think of Mary's obedience and trust, it's overwhelming. She is the ultimate of all women, and I need to exemplify her obedience and her trust in my motherhood as well to my kids, so that I can exemplify to them being obedient and trusting of the Lord, but also just as a Christian in general.
I've consecrated my life to her, and I've consecrated, Stacy and I consecrated our marriage on our wedding day, typically when the bride brings the roses to Our Lady. We both brought over the roses to Our Lady, and we prayed St. Louis de Montfort's consecration. So we did the 33 days leading up to our wedding day, and then the preparation, and then on our wedding day we consecrated our marriage and any future children to Our Lady. And we renew our consecration every year on our anniversary, either doing the 33 days preparation or just the simple consecration prayer.
One of the biggest things that we've talked about, and we try very hard as a family, two things, is joy and hospitality. And those are very important things to us. And I think the Blessed Mother really embodied those and showed those throughout her life, to have that joy, that yes to the Lord, regardless of what happens, and to know that deep down, throughout whatever might be going on in life, that there is a God that loves you and there is hope, and to keep your focus on that. And then hospitality for us has been important. And I think about where she accepted whatever God gave her and accepted into her home.
The best quality that I found in my parents is that they are extremely hospitable to all that we've encountered.
My parents are very helpful and they make me feel at peace. I would like to help others and make them feel at peace.
I think that they're doing their best to be as hospitable as they can, and I appreciate that. And I'm hoping to be able to do that too, and I try my best to do the same with being hospitable.
They're always hospitable, and they're always open to having other people over. They said that when they got married, one of the virtues they wanted to have in our family was to be hospitable and to always be open to others.
So Our Lady has been very influential in our life, and she's taken really good care of us, and she's led us into ways that I never would have dreamed or imagined.
And so Marian devotion has been very important from the get-go. All of our kids actually have a Marian middle name. So the saint that for their middle name has to be known for their Marian devotion. So our eldest, his middle name is Colby. Our second is Immaculata. Our third is Dominic. Then we have Bernadette. And then we have Elizabeth. And then we have Anne, Mary's mom. And so the middle name has been very important to us to make sure that it exemplifies a Marian devotion in the saints. She was the closest to the Lord on the earth. And if she was that close to the Lord on the earth, then we want to be close to her, because that's where she's going to lead us and nowhere else.
Stacy and I have always said we want to encourage anything in this world that is true, good, and beautiful, and that we participate in those things. Anything that is not of the Lord, not true, good, and beautiful, so sin and evil in all its forms, then we want to reject and not accept that in our house.
I would just like to keep away all sin. It's destructive. It obviously it very much tarnishes our relationship with the Lord, and it tarnishes our human relationships. I notice in our family, even when there seems to be a lot more bickering or we're not getting along, whatever it is, the very first thing we do is run to confession, and everybody goes and receives the graces of the sacrament. And so if we could just keep away all sin and all evil, I think that's the ideal, is to be able to keep those out of the house and out of the family, so that we can really just build a loving home and a loving union. Most of the furniture we have in the house is hand-me-downs, or we'll go and we'll look at consignment shops, or I'll even go out and look on Big Trash Day about what furniture people are throwing out. I think one of the proudest times I had as a mom is it was Big Trash Day and my kids found a big air hockey table and they came to me all excited and said, "Mom, can we go get that air hockey table?" And I said, "Absolutely, go for it." So the material possessions don't matter so much to me. A couch works just the same whether it's brand new or whether it's used. And what's more important to me is our family and that we get to be together. There's no greater joy for me than when I see my kids interacting together and laughing together. Sometimes they'll write a play and perform it for us. And that's so much more important to me than anything that we can have in the home.
We are the Martin family, and we are joyfully big!
To all of the viewers of Shalom TV throughout the world, I want to encourage you not only to support this amazing media apostolate, but to spread the word to others. We all know how the internet and mass media are polluting the world with the poison of pornography and so much other forms of materialism. This is the source of eternal life, the gospel, and Shalom TV is consecrated to spreading the word of Christ. Thank you.
Shalom World, God's own channel.